Broken glass is usually swept away without thought, small shards catching light for a moment, then disappearing into dust bins and memory. But some glass is never cleaned up properly. It settles into corners, under furniture, inside silence. Not because it is dangerous, but because it belongs to a moment someone could not touch again. If broken glass could talk, it would not scream. It would remember that a familiar object suddenly changed. The moment something ordinary becomes emotionally present, glass begins as trust. Clear, predictable, quietly doing its job. Windows let the world in without asking questions. Mirrors return faces without judgment. Cups hold warmth, plates hold routine, bottles hold evenings together. Then one day, the sound arrives. Sharp, final, unmistakable. After that sound, glass is no longer invisible. It becomes noticeable, not because it looks different, but because it feels different. The space around it tightens. Breath adjusts. Movement becomes careful. Broken glass sits there, reflecting fragments of the room back at itself. Not as a whole image, only pieces. A wall here, a footstep there, a hand hovering, unsure whether to help or retreat. This is how emotional awareness often begins. Not with understanding, but with interruption. Something familiar breaks, and suddenly attention is forced. People remember exactly where they were when a glass broke. The angle of the light, the temperature of the room, who was nearby, or who was missing. The object itself has not changed its nature. It is still glass, but meaning has arrived. Broken glass becomes a marker, a quiet before and after dividing the day. The moment when carelessness feels too loud, when silence feels heavier than sound. No one says this out loud. They step around it. They warn others softly. They promise themselves they will clean it later. But later becomes a place where emotions wait, and the glass remains, watching how humans learn to move around pain without naming it. Memory attaches itself to moments of fracture. Repetition turns accidents into symbols. Most broken glass comes from small things. A bumped elbow, a careless gesture, a distracted mind, rarely from intention. Yet the emotional weight that follows often has nothing to do with the accident itself. It comes from what surrounded the moment. The argument that had no ending. The laughter that stopped too suddenly. The absence that filled the room before the sound ever arrived. Glass breaks easily, which is why it is present in moments of vulnerability. Hands shake, voices rise, silence stretches too thin. The mind notices patterns. If pain arrives when glass breaks, glass becomes associated with pain. If loss arrives nearby, the object absorbs it quietly. Over time, broken glass stops being about the break. It becomes about what could not be held together. Some people remember the glass from childhood kitchens. A plate shattered during raised voices. A glass knocked over during apologies that never settled. The sound echoing longer than the moment itself. The object does not choose to carry this meaning. It is assigned. Humans do this instinctively. The mind looks for anchors, something physical to hold an emotional moment in place. Glass is perfect for this role. It is fragile, reflective, and permanent once broken. Cleaning it up feels wrong sometimes, as if removing the shards might erase proof that something happened. So the memory stays sharp. So the feeling remains justified. Broken glass becomes an archive, a reminder that something slipped, fell, and could not return to its original shape. No matter how carefully the pieces are collected, objects stabilize emotions the body cannot process. Fragments become containers for unresolved experience. The human mind struggles with unfinished moments. When emotion has no conclusion, it looks for somewhere to rest. Objects provide that resting place. Broken glass does not demand explanation. It simply exists, sharp, reflective, undeniable. The mind places feeling inside it the way water fills cracks. Psychologically, this is containment. Pain becomes safer when it belongs to something outside the body. Fear feels manageable when it has edges. Loss feels real when it leaves debris. Glass reflects without absorbing. It shows fragments back without commentary. This makes it an ideal mirror for emotions people do not want to speak aloud. People step carefully around broken glass because they're practicing emotional caution. They lower their voices. They slow their movements. They become aware of their bodies and space. The object teaches vigilance, but it also teaches avoidance. Looking too closely risks memory. Touching risks feeling. So distance becomes the strategy. Over time, this dynamic repeats in relationships. Certain topics are stepped around. Certain emotions are avoided. Certain memories remain sharp because they are never handled directly. The glass does not demand healing. It does not ask for insight. It simply remains, allowing the mind to postpone resolution. This is not weakness. It is protection. The psyche learns to survive by storing pain where it can be seen, but not felt fully, where it can be acknowledged without being integrated. Broken glass becomes proof that something mattered enough to hurt, and sometimes that proof feels more important than relief. Looking away becomes a form of survival. Avoidance hides what feels too fragile to face. People often say they are fine with broken glass, as long as no one asks them to clean it immediately. Avoidance is not ignorance. It is awareness without readiness. The mind knows what the object represents. That is why it hesitates. That is why excuses appear. That is why attention shifts elsewhere. Facing broken glass requires acknowledging what broke emotionally at the same time. And that recognition can feel destabilizing. Some people joke about it. Some minimize it. Some clean aggressively, as if speed could erase meaning. Others leave it untouched, turning the room into a quiet negotiation with memory. Resistance shows up as distraction, as impatience, as irritation toward anyone who notices. The object becomes inconvenient, not because it is dangerous, but because it is honest. Broken glass does not allow denial. It refuses to return to invisibility. Even swept away, its sound lingers. This mirrors emotional resistance. Unprocessed feelings behave similarly. They hide until pressure brings them back into awareness. Avoidance is not failure. It is timing. The mind protects itself from overwhelm by controlling when recognition happens. Broken glass waits. It does not chase understanding. And yet, every careful step around it reinforces its presence. Every glance away confirms its meaning. The object teaches a quiet truth. What is avoided gains weight, not because it grows, but because attention is split between seeing and not seeing. Awareness arrives without drama. Nothing is fixed, but something is seen. There comes a moment when broken glass is looked at directly, not with urgency, not with fear, just with clarity. The room is quiet. The body is still. The mind notices without rushing to explain. In that moment, the glass is no longer a threat. It is evidence. Evidence of fragility. Evidence of carelessness. Evidence of being human in a body that sometimes drops things. This recognition does not heal anything. It does not resolve the past. It simply allows the object to be what it is. The mind stops assigning new meaning. It stops resisting old meaning. There is space between the shards now. Not physically, emotionally. Broken glass becomes an object again, not a symbol. Still sharp, still reflective, but no longer carrying the full weight of the moment it came from. This awareness often feels quiet, almost disappointing. No release, no relief, just a subtle shift in how the object is held mentally. That is enough. Recognition does not erase pain. It changes the relationship to it. The glass remains broken, but it is no longer mistaken for the entire story. Integration without repair. Coexistence without denial. Broken glass does not need to be made whole again to be understood. Some things cannot return to their original shape. Acceptance is not fixing. It is allowing reality to remain without protest. The glass may be swept away slowly, or carefully collected, or left until the right moment arrives. Whatever happens, the memory it carried does not disappear. It simply moves into a different place in the mind. Fragments become knowledge instead of wounds. Sharpness becomes caution, not fear. Reflection becomes insight, not accusation. Spaces feel different after this. Not safer, truer. The object has done its work quietly. It has held what needed holding. It has reflected what needed seeing. Now it rests, whether in a bin, a memory, or a corner of awareness. Broken glass teaches a final lesson. That fragility is not failure. That damage does not erase meaning. That silence can be full without being overwhelming. The room returns to normal, but the understanding stays. And somewhere, light still catches on edges that once hurt. Not to warn, but to remind.